Hello and welcome to the InfoMarket 2025. Today I'm going to present you an order clustering tool which we in NDC developed over the past few months to cluster our orders according to technology waves. My name is Sandro Niethammer. I'm working for NDC's Global Business Development Support and Business Intelligence, and together with Beate Höhne from the Sales, Marketing and BDM Management, who is directly reporting out to Joachim and also is doing the order clustering now for many years and having profound knowledge of what's going on the market. We were responsible for leading this project and working together with Chad Freiha from the Luis Hernandez team. He is a data analyst and scientist and helped us setting up and designing a powerful but also intuitive tool on Power BI. I also want to point out two further colleagues who delivered major contributions in this project. On the left, product planner and application expert Adrian Luché, coming more from the networking side, focusing on coherent and digital optical electrical applications. And on the right side, product planner and application expert Pedro Merlo, who is covering mainly the edge devices and memory standards such as USB, Thunderbolt, MIPI, or DDR. So why to segment our orders? It's primarily to understand what is going on in the different regions, who is buying what and why. It is for understanding trends in the different technology segments and determining purchase patterns from our customers and comparing them with the development of the overall global test and measurement market within the network and data center area. If we have more exact numbers, we can do better and more precise forecasts. And also if we know exactly what our customer really need, then we can communicate it from the outside into our R&D to improve product and solution planning. We can also improve account management and make sales strategies more customized. So now let me explain from where we came from and where we are at the moment. Previously, there have been two different approaches to pull the data out of the system and cluster it according to our technology segments. The first one was that Beate was reporting the results to Joachim every quarter by exporting the raw data from Incorta into an Excel spreadsheet and doing a lookup with a part number list, which was also in an Excel spreadsheet format that contained all the items related to our NDC solutions and clustered based on our tech waves. She had to browse through hundreds of orders, which was quite cumbersome and took her days. And she did this data compilation offline, which is why only she could evaluate this data and rate it to her best knowledge and experience. The advantage of this approach was that whenever she came across an order from which she thought it is not to be clustered as triggered by the lookup, she could change the cluster of this order and make it directly reflected in her report. An example, based on the lookup, it was proposed to her that order X is under PCI Express and 400-800G, but she knows that the customer is specifically focusing on PCI Express. She could make this change. Second approach was that the product planners and application experts team under Keith Condesau and Brick Essay used a Power BI tool based on a different part number list and different clusters. The advantage here is obvious. The data compilation happened online as set on a Power BI interface, so multiple users could access and view the data. This tool already provided some nice dashboards and tables, displayed the clustered order data, but a disadvantage of this method was that it wasn't directly possible to reflect cluster changes of specific orders, like Beate was able to do. Thus, that tool wasn't as accurate as the results out of Beate's procedure, and many sync meetings and the frequent communication between Joachim, Keith, and Brig have been necessary to align on the discrepancies of the data due to different databases used on both approaches. And currently, we develop now one Power BI interface for the whole team that is addressing one and the same database, so data consistency is ensured from the beginning. The tool offers some nice new visuals and features to display and narrow down the data, which I will show you in a minute. Furthermore, it's quite flexible to modify. Bottom line, we can say with this new tool, we raised the data accuracy from between 60 to 80% up to around 90%. How did we do this? So we first updated the database and added, for example, typical configuration items. And we also set it up a separate tool to make any adjusted order cluster reflected in our Power BI interface. Now let me briefly explain you on a high level what we have done to get to our new Power BI framework for order clustering. Of course, followed by a short tour through this new tool. At the beginning, we made use of automatic routines to merge the different part number lists and clusters that have been used in the past. In the next step, we updated this new list by getting rid of redundant clusters and part numbers and adding new clusters and part numbers. The structure and final status of the list is proved by all of the project members to ensure nothing is missing. Here we have the database of our Power BI tool, the part number list where all the different items related to NDC solutions are listed and clustered to the respective technology. We have a high-level segmentation defined by the type. That could be, for example, computing, edge devices, networking, memory, or components. Technology and generation are the more detailed clusters that the product planners and experts used to work with and which we kept when merging the files, whereas technology wave is a more generic cluster summarizing the clusters of technology and generation. The management level around Joachim and Kailash are mainly interested in the business distribution according to this cluster. Our final cluster is NDC customer type, indicating what the item is most likely used for example, R&D, or rather compliance conformance, or manufacturing. Then Beate, Adrian, Pedro, and I closely work together with Chad Freya to design a Power BI framework that is able to display us the clustered order data in the way we need it, and to implement useful filter functions to enable flexible query of the data. Chad also developed an Excel tool to manually change the clustering of a specific order and embed this into the Power BI framework. With this toolset, we achieved our initial project goal. Multiple users work on the same surface and refer to the same database. What is shown on this slide in a very abstractive way is the hard work over months, which made the permanent exchange between the project members, as well as updating the management and other key stakeholders within our organization necessary. So now here we in the tool. Having here various tabs and pages to show the data in different ways. This is the global filters page you currently see, whose settings apply to all of the pages. Maybe first of all, let me point out this timestamp here on the top right corner. It shows the last refresh date and time of when the tool is updating itself. This should happen once per day to ensure that whenever we sync to discuss and make any adjustments that they will be reflected properly in the tool. So now let me show you an example. Assuming we want to see which companies were the biggest players in 400-800G in fiscal year 2024, we would need to select under technology wave 400-800G and under fiscal year, fiscal quarter and month name 2024. And then just let's see under detailed drill down how much we have been sold in this technology segments in 2024 and to which customers. Therefore, we would need to select customers in the parameter filter box on the right. And if we are, for example, also interested in what customer purchased what products, we would also need to select product number by pressing Ctrl on the keyboard and selecting product number hybrid. Now we have a list of the key players in 400-800G, and we can also drill down by clicking on this plus symbol and see what Amphenol purchased from us over the different quarters in 2024 related to our 400-800G business. If we reset the parameter filter on the right, then the revenues are shown per generation. Further down, we can see the revenue amounts per generation visually displayed over time. Finally, let me give you an outlook on the next steps we are currently investigating. So the next significant project here is trying to implement further attribute besides the part number clustering we currently have, and that's the customer characteristics. So in order lookup process and data compilation, we also want to refer on customer profile information, such as what products and solutions the customers are offering, the applications and target markets they are addressing, the technology they are focusing on and developing, and what kind of test equipment they purchased from us in the past, and what they are interested in buying in the future. And there is where AI comes into the game. These days, we are training a large language model that can compile the helpful information from different repositories, such as our trip reports, customer success stories or case studies, and any kind of news articles that show content on customer engagements. Further, we want to address our subscribed market research newsletters, as well as looping through customer support cases and escalations, which are documented in Salesforce. Once we are able to achieve this, we continue to raise our data accuracy and automation degree.